It's Christmas, time of year. Our family's by the fire, snuggled up like bunnies in the snow. It's Christmas, little birds are singing like a choir. Winter chill is nipping at your nose. I've been waiting all year for this. Grab your cocoa and we'll reminisce. Oh, how I love when Christmas comes around. It's Christmas, birthday pie. Who cares? It's still divine. Give me all the whipped cream you can find. It's Christmas, records on, trim the tree and sing along. Watching Hallmark movies all night long. I've been waiting all year for this. Ugly sweaters I just can't resist. Oh, how I love when Christmas comes around. When it comes around. It's Christmas, candlelight, midnight carols at the church. Singing let there be peace on earth. I don't need a single gift. There's no present that compares to this. So I just love when Christmas comes. I love when it comes around. Oh, I just love when Christmas comes around. You know I love when Christmas comes around.
They say it's a matter of time, 1,000 days and the sun won't shine before I come back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home, I'm making my way. For your love I will go far, I wanna be wherever you are. I know I'm coming back for you. Our love is a river long, the best ride in a million wrongs. I know I'm coming back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home, I'm making my way. I go solo, oh I go solo, I'm making my way.
Hello, everybody. Okay, hold on a second. Let me turn this countdown off. There you go. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. We're live. We're live. I know I didn't put any announcement because to be honest with you, I don't know when I'll have the free time. Sometimes, a lot of times it's in the evening, and a lot of times it's very early in the morning. Today just have to be in the middle of the day. My kids are still in bed. They stayed up all night. Well, before I begin, Happy New Year's to everybody. I really wish that everybody's healthy and everybody can be happy because I know for sure year 2021 is going to be fantastic. Okay, it takes faith and belief to be happy these days, right? Okay, so today is a very interesting day. Before I start, I just want to shout out to everybody. Can you guys make sure that the audio visual is working good? Make sure that the sound quality is okay. If it's too loud, let me know. If you cannot hear, let me know. Right? So if you can shout out, that would be great. Okay. Many of you guys are joining today. Marco, the usual, Scott, the regular, and we also have Pretty and also Dr. YK Kim from Philadelphia. Thank you very much. Jay is joining. Okay, and Richard. All right, awesome. Also, it'll be really interesting if you can write down your city and your time. I'm interested because a few of the doctors were saying that when I was starting my late night coffee show at like at 10 o'clock, they said it's almost like 2 o'clock on their time and other part of the globe. So I'll be interested to know what your timeline is. So I can make a note of that. Okay. So awesome. So sound is all good. Excellent. Oh, by the way, you like my new YouTube type of a look? Okay. I got some RGB lights over there, purple and green tone. Let me know. Okay. If you like it or not. If you dig it, let me know. Okay. Put some happy face up there. So today, surgery reaction video. Okay, I don't know what started me going last week, but I decided to do some reaction video. It all started from Dr. Son, Professor Son's video from Korea, Iran. He talked about, he was about an hour lecture, and we're very blessed to actually get to listen to it. And out of the blue, I decided that I'm going to share with you guys and just going to talk in my head, what I felt about the presentation, and I got a lot of good reviews and a lot of good feedback. So, just disclaimer, whatever I say it out is coming out unfiltered, right? So some of the things I might say, I might not actually mean. So take things into a context, okay? By no means I know everything. I certainly don't. I'm just reflecting my experience to the speakers or presenter of that day. So agree or disagree, that's not the point. But I'm just feeding you my input and my experience, and take it for what it is, guys. Okay, there's a way more than one way to cook an omelet, right? So hope you guys enjoy it. Okay. It's 3:33. No live view. Oh, you don't have a live view? Okay, hold on a second. Let me put my. Here it is. Okay. How about now? How about now, guys? Okay, can you guys see me? My switch was off. Marco, can you? Okay, 3:30 in Philly. Wow. Okay, that's almost evening time. Hope you guys can see me now. All right. All good. Okay, I think you guys can see me. All right. So, Happy New Year. Welcome to my live coffee show. Today I don't have a coffee. I'm just drinking this right here. Today's sponsor is this drink. Actually, just kidding. My wife just got this from a Whole Food. Say that has no sugar, so it's supposed to be healthier, right? Okay. All right. So all good. Marco, are you okay? Sound is okay. The live feed is okay too. Yep. Okay. All right. Don't worry. I'll put the presentation on soon. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to watch today's presentation. Today's presentation is actually part of the live surgery series. Okay, I'll go picture in picture here now. Okay, so live surgery series, and today's presenter, the surgeon of the day today, is Dr. Yong-Jin Kim from South Korea. There are many great surgeons, and I'll tell a little bit about Dr. Yong-Jin Kim. And he is an incredible surgeon. He is another one of those very prolific surgeons. I've never really met him in person, but I heard of him. Through my days with Hayasen Ostam implant company. Many of you know that I used to be the key opinion leader and a speaker representing Canada. So when I got to go up on a stage to lecture at the World Conference a couple times, I've got to listen to him, and people talked about him. He's actually a relatively young surgeon, but from the rumor that I heard is that her brothers were very established clinician, and they basically told Dr. Yong-Jin Kim to be the main surgeon of their clinic, and because they have so many patients. And as you guys know, Korea in the world has the highest number of implant surgery done by per capita. Okay, yeah, so that's why there are a lot of Korean company that manufacture implant like a Dentium, Hayosen, Ostam, Megagen, SIS, Dentist, and you name it. Okay, so that's how he evolved. His training, I believe, is oral maxillofacial surgery. A lot of the great implantologists in South Korea do have an oral maxillofacial surgery background, such as Professor Son, Yong-Jin Kim, and also Dr. Cho. So this is my first time actually watching Dr. Yong-Jin Kim's live surgery, and this was one of the live surgery event as a part of the online series that was held in April the 22nd, which was an attempt of a Megagen, a mid-neck education part of their company, lined up many great surgeons, and they were doing the surgery, which is in average takes about 40 to 1 hour long today. Okay, so if you're ready, we're going to start watching, and I'm going to make my remarks. Okay, all right. And during the procedure, if you have any question, don't feel shy. Just type your comments up, and then I'll try to incorporate that as part of today's coffee show. Okay, here we go.
Hello, I'm Dr. Yong-Jin Kim from Korea. It is a great honor to have the opportunity to perform live surgery with Megagen digital guide surgery system called Altgate. This is my very first live surgery case with Megagen, so I'm a little bit nervous. but I'll do my best.
He does a lot of live
Today,
surgery
I will
events
place implant using
with the Hyosin in the
Megagen
past.
surgery system
And
called
also, I don't know if you guys heard
and
about the
immediate loading
education
will be
implant
done.
learning platform in Korea
Before
called the
I
Dental
start,
Beam.
I will
He's a
briefly
regular speaker
explain
there
what
as
my
well, so
surgery
please do
entails.
check him out.
This patient is 68 years old male with no significant medical history. Right upper first premolar was extracted about 8 weeks ago in my clinic. This is the pre-op photo. And this is occlusal view. The healing of soft tissue on extraction
So
side.
I need to apologize. On the thumbnail, I put a different one, which was like a 2-1 quad 2 implant placement and osseodensification. This is a different surgery. Hope you guys don't mind. I'll do that one some other time. But today's surgery is extraction of the anterior case. And I believe he's going to put some immediate implant and he's going to do immediate loading of the temporary. I'm just curious to know how he does it differently. You know, a lot of surgeons in Korea, they do immediate as well, but they do it in a certain different way, especially the Megagen company. They do things different as well. So it'll be interesting to find out.
Anyone picture will be placed. And in canine, 4.5, 11.5 anyone picture will be placed.
Oh, he's going to place any one implant.
In the central incisor,
That's so rare because a majority of the surgeons in Korea, they are avid user of any ridge rather than any one.
11.5 anyone picture will be placed as well. So to summarize, 4 implants will be placed in upper anterior region after extraction with alternate surgical template. And then gap management will be done between
So he'll be placing
labial bone plate.
upper first
Two
premolar, upper canine, upper central incisor, and upper left lateral incisor.
So if needed, buccal bone augmentation will be done.
Hi Tan, thanks for joining.
After select roof level elevation. So I'll check the buccal bone status right after implant placement. And if the labial bone around the canine and central incisor implants are not intact because of some fracture, GBR will be done as well. So finally,
so those are the proposed areas of implant placement.
Will be connected to the implant in 3 implant and provisional restoration. PMMA type bridge will be delivered.
Oh, okay. So this is interesting. Okay. So he's going to place those 4 implant as he mentioned over here. Okay, using an any one implant, and that's the line of Megagen implant that I use quite a lot in my practice. Any one. And he's going to place the custom abutment. Custom abutment, I believe, is probably prefabricated, pre-milled. Don't know if it's going to be a PMMA types of abutment, but because it's also going to seems like a cement the other ones. I've seen surgeons do the a prefabricated zirconia abutment and put that into place, and then cement the prefabricated, pre-milled PMMA crowns, or in this case, bridge here. So that's interesting. Hey Isaac, how you doing? Hi Lisa. Yeah. So that's one thing we have to understand is like doing surgery in your own comfort of your own clinic versus when you go on a stage like this in somebody else's clinic with a camera right in front of you. It's a nerve-wracking, right? And oftentimes it's hard to perform your full potential on the live screen like this.
I have already cut the bridge for traumatic extraction.
So the section has been done before he went live to save time, obviously. Sometimes the extraction is longer time consuming than the actual surgery itself, right? Actual implant placement doesn't take that long.
트라우마틱 익스트랙션을 해야 되는데요. 이미디어트 임플란트 할 때 가장 중요한 게
So,
알베올라
he's
본을 얼마나 잘
speaking
구분하는지가
English and
중요한데
Korean half half because majority of the listeners, of course, at that time live, it was Korean time. So, a lot of us in North America, US and Canada missed this, right? Hey, Thomas, how you doing? So what he's using is some sort of like a periotome thin tipped, and using a mallet to kind of loosen up the PDL. And there's a few instruments that is always in my kit that is always a part of my normal surgical kit. Is a periotome is one of them. I also like to use the power elevator. I covered that in the past. So if you want to find out how I use a power elevator to extract anterior teeth without breaking a buccal plate, check that post out as well. Yeah, so what he's saying is that extracting endo-treated carious, heavy carious lesion roots are not easy. And what he's trying to also do here, I believe, is taking his time so that he protects the buccal plate. I mean, if you do end up cracking the buccal plate, I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? It's just that you have to spend a little more time doing a GBR and trying to get the proper emergence profile of the buccal. But by no means he'll be aborting those cases. He's committed. He's already spent the money to get the prefabricated abutments and the temporary bridge. So there's no way he's going to abort this case, I tell you. So it's malleting, right? And it's one of those cases, like periodontal, they come in like 5 different shapes. One that I like is different from what Bernard likes. What Dr. Yong-Jin Kim likes is different. So it's one of those things that you have to get comfortable with. There you go. Very nice. I think his buccal plate is still there. Mm-hmm. There's a bit of a carious lesion on the canine on the mesial. Oh. I'm sure that will be addressed in the future. That's another thing about live surgery cases. We always have to have a backup patient, right? Because on a live, the one of the patient, let's say, oh, you know what, I got cold or whatever, I cannot make it, right? Then you have to have a backup patient. So, like, we have a 12 live surgery cases coming up in 2021, starting with immediate anterior in January for me. I'm the better up, right? But I have to have a backup patient for those cases as well. Yeah, so typically distal and mesial, you're going to take your turn to loosen it up. Where you don't want to be putting your periotome is on the buccal, because what happens is the buccal bone is so thin, you can pretty much just slip it in and then end up peeling off the buccal plate. So typically, surgeons will do the mesial and the distal aspect of the area to get in between the periodontal ligament than tooth in the bone.
섹션이 할게.
Oh, he's having a bit of hard time with 2-2.
Because of secondary caries, this section.
Oh, he's going to use a surgical burr. He's going to section it. Yeah. So he's going to try to section the lateral decayed root. Yeah, it's like a cookie. So everything breaks. I mean, worst comes to worst, then you know, he's gonna have to raise a flap, obviously, right? But he's gonna try to avoid that. I mean, he's getting some movement. How you guys doing? Doing okay? He's probably thinking, by now in my own office, I would have finished the case. Oh, I feel his frustration. Because it happened to me as well in the past. On the Pacific Dental Conference, the live stage, when me and Bernard, we do annual live surgery. You know, when we do similar cases, you know, it's not the implant placement that we worry about, it's extractions. Hey Ross, how you doing? Thanks for joining. You know, oh, there you go. That's a good feeling. It just popped right out. Just popped right out. There you go. There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Extraction is done. So let's check the labial bone.
That instrument, that is a Lucas curette. Okay. I wish I knew about this a curette early in my career. It's very useful. It comes in different sizes. In my surgical kit, I have a small size Lucas curette and a large size Lucas curette. It's really easy to reach to the apical area to remove the granulation tissue.
Labial bone is so good here. Central incisor also. Labial bone is intact.
So he's saying that the labial bones are both incisor and the laterals are intact.
I will place 4 implants. Right upper post premolar and canine and central incisor and left upper lateral incisor.
Okay, so the universal number is going to be 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 1, and 2, 2. Okay. So upper right side will be a first premolar, canine, and also the central incisor, and left side will be a lateral incisor.
And now I'll start drilling.
Okay, so this is a R2 guide, right? Okay, people are asking me, why is R2 guide different than the regular guide? Well, first of all, R2, they utilize no sleeve, no spoon. That means that the drill goes directly into these holes, okay? That's one thing. Because what the research has shown is that having a less component in between the drill and the guide itself, it gives you more precision, okay? And also it has these slots here, built-in slot, so that it matches the R2 implant adapter, the orientation for the hexes, okay? And also, it's hard to see, but the sleeve, the PMMA no, sorry, the surgical guide sleeve is one of the longest. I believe it's almost like 12 millimeter or 13 millimeter, which again corresponds to the length of the barrel of the drill that you will see.
This is the initial drill.
So he's going to start with the initial drill.
Is most important. So when using the initial drill, we should make a contact between this guide barrel and guide hole like this, and start the drilling.
Yeah, what he's saying is that the first initial drill is the most important. That marks the point, okay, where the rest of the drill is going to go. So think of like all guided surgery osteotomy sequence as a crown down. You know, like an endo, you use a short one and then progressively lengthen it. It's a crown down, because that way you can keep the drill in exactly center of the surgical guide hole.
And then this is the second drill.
Hi, Siu Hang. Thanks for joining.
세컨드 드릴이고요. 이니셜 드릴링을 따라서 드릴링 뎁스를 조금 더 깊이 증가시키는 겁니다.
So the second drill is the initial drill number 2. It has a bit of a cutting able to show this. It flans out the surrounding, which makes the rest of the drill less chattery. But what you'll find with an R2 second drill is the second drill is not always easiest to drill all the way to the depth. So it's not mandatory for you to get the second drill all the way to the depth, okay? But you drill enough to flare out the coronal portion.
나쁘지 않은 것 같습니다. The bone quality was not so bad. Normal bone.
Yeah, if you guys have any question, feel free to shout out, okay?
The second drill.
Yeah, and if appreciate it if you guys write down what city and what time zone you're from, that'd be great. So that you'll help me with the analytics. Okay, start with the 2.0. So he's doing a crown down, right? So narrow and short. 7 is the shortest one on a regular kit. Okay. So just because your final implant drill size is going length with 13, you don't go to the 13 right away. Okay, you don't do that. Always think of like a root canal, crown down. Oh, Austin, it's 3 p.m. over there. Saeed, I didn't know you're from Texas, Austin. We have a lot of members from California and Texas, for whatever the reason. And thank you. Oh, we got Siu Hang. You're from New York City, eh? 4 p.m. It's almost evening. No wonder you guys will have a hard time joining me when I do a late night coffee show, right? Like when I do 10 and 11, you guys are in like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'll try to spread it, like, evening one and the morning one. I mean, I leave a recorded version, some of these, but not all of them. And the real fun is the live, isn't it? Okay, live version, so that I can interact with you guys. And if there's question, I can, answer to you right away. And you see that right here? Okay. Irrigation, right? Irrigation and guide. Any guide is very, very important, right? Very, very important. Okay. Like if you see me doing the surgery, I want to ensure there's a lot of irrigation. So there's a fine line, lots of irrigation, and at the same time not drowning the patient, right? Okay. And we all know that because of all these hardware that's in the mouth, with the drill, there's a more distance for your irrigation to reach. Okay. So in his case, okay, Dr. Kim, Yong-Jin Kim's case, he doesn't have any suction around where the osteotomy drill is happening. Okay, so most of the suction is happening where? Intraorally. So he probably got a 1 or 2 intraoral suctions happening there. Okay, me, I have intraoral suction in the patient's mouth, and I have high volume suction, but I keep the high volume suction far away from the surgery site. Okay, so that when the water flows outward, I'll catch those. But what I don't want to do excuse me, is to have a very small high power suction tip right on this, close to this drill here, because that will not allow a lot of the water to get inside into the a guide hole. So, you know, being able to appreciate these little details, you know, it can be helpful.
And K9, I will place 11.5. In this first premolar area, I will place 10.
So
And here, central incisor, I will place 10. Lateral incisor, 11.5.
okay.
This is 10.
So there's going to be length of arrangement anywhere from 11.5 to 10 millimeters.
K9.
So that's a 10.
3번 부위에는 11.5를 식립하기 위해서
Also 11.5 on the canine areas.
11.5까지 드릴링을 하겠습니다.
Yeah. And 11.5 also on the lateral area. So when you're immediate loading, right, implant, you want to maximize the length. That's at least that's what I do.
볼질이 괜찮아서 이제 2.8 드릴로 넘어가겠습니다. 1.8에 10입니다.
So 2.8 diameter by 10 for the, I believe. So he's going to the first premolar area. All right. Because he's not using a guided denser drill, not like the one I showed the other day, yesterday, Dr. Park's drill. He's using, you know, the typical R2 guided surgery kit. So that means in order to achieve optimal stability, he's going to have to under prep accordingly, right? Because what you don't want to do is over prep and lose your stability, and at the time you don't want to under prep so much that you know, your implant doesn't seat properly. Whitera, thanks for joining. Okay. Where are you from? If you let me know, that'd be great. City and the time zone that you are at, your local time. Your local time there would be great.
중절치와 라테랄 인사이저 이쪽에서는 측절치 있는 데서는 3.5 직경을 심을 거고요.
Wow, we got 23 people. See, what is better to do on the New Year's than have a little, okay, drink and watch a surgery, live surgery together. 3.5 for the central and the lateral, and I think the other ones he's placing 4.0. Now the thing about any one implant, right? There are some similarity. The implant system that comes closest in design to a MegaGen any one implant, not any ridge implant, any one implant, in my experience, is a Hyosin ET3 implant. Hyosin ET3 implant and MegaGen any one implant is very, very similar in design, and they share compatible prosthetic connection. And that's one of the reasons why when I switched over from Hyosin ET3, I chose any one, not the any ridge, just for the convenience, because I got so many. I got inventory, and I want to minimize the inventory when I switch over the cases. But the key difference is their wall size, right? So he's using a 3.5 any one, right? But that 3.5 is actually not 3.5. If you measure it carefully, it's 3.8 because of the wall is thicker. That makes this implant more fracture resistant. Hi Gaurav, how are you? New Hampshire, 4 p.m. You guys are almost in the evening time. No wonder some of you guys couldn't join my evening coffee show. Iowa. Okay, Roy, you're from Iowa. Okay, gotcha. Well, it's nice of you guys to be joining. Thank you. So that's the thing about these type of guided surgical kit, right? There's no sleeve, no spoon, and these drills are already pre-set. So you just have to drill to the depth, and you don't have to worry about anything else. There's no spoon that you have to fiddle with. There's no sleeve that you have to, worry about coming off. It's literally the easiest. And these drills, now she's now scraping off with her suction. If you know you're going to have to do some bone grafting, I don't waste it because these drills are designed to collect bone really well. So what I do is after I drill, I reach out to my secondary surgical assistant, and then they'll scrape the bone from it. Okay, what do you notice? His setup, right? Similar with Dr. Park surgery as well. Do you notice the similarity, right? The similarity is that they don't use magnification. No magnification. So all these surgeons that I met in South Korea who does implants for living, they moved away from magnification, and that's similar with me. I don't use magnification because our reason is so that I can see the orientation of multiple implants, right? So you know, I don't use magnification in my own office either. Oh, the patient's complaining about some pain. Okay.
Drilling was on. I place implant.
So now I just want to explain a little bit, okay? Some of you guys were private messaging. When do I choose to use those anchor, not anchor pins, but anchor abutments, okay? Because in some surgery that you see is in order to achieve the better stability of the guide, some doctors, they put the implant one at a time. They'll do the osteotomy, right? They put the osteotomy and put the implant to the right orientation, the depth, and they'll put what we call like an anchoring abutment, guided abutment. So they put on top of that through the guide, and that will stabilize the guide even further. And then you do the similar thing as you progress, okay? Some surgeons use that quite often for their full arch cases. I moved away from it. What Dr. Yong-Jin Kim is doing here is she's actually doing all the osteotomy at the same time and placing implant all together. Why did he do that? One, probably he felt that the guide was very stable. Okay, he didn't need additional stability. Second, I'm thinking that this will also save some of his time as well, because you gotta understand, he's under the time strain, right? And he already used up quite a bit of that time for the extraction of a 2-2. So he's going to try to make up the time. So they're getting all the implants lined up now, and he's going to start to, yeah, that's a new packaging, the Lego packaging. I'm not a big fan of it, but it is improvement from their old packaging. Okay, so he got the carrier. He put the NE1 implant, and you see that black line there. Okay, so he's going to now put the
This is a fixed driver.
yeah, for the ratchet, fixture driver for the wrench. And if you look at it, okay, it's got a black and the green. What you want is
Control.
that green needs to go to the finish at the window buckle,
Stability is so good.
and that here line has to match to the line on the top. Okay. Yeah. So this is very important. Now doing a single,
고정력은 굉장히 좋은 것
you're a
같습니다.
little off.
고개
You know, you can get away with it. But when you're doing 3, 2, or more, if one of those are off, right, the height wise especially, then your temporary will not seat.
기조절골은 다 됐고 이제 헥스 포지셔닝에서 마무리하겠습니다.
Now he's going to get the hex position. He got the depth position correct. Now he's getting the hex position right.
This is ideal depth control and hex positioning.
Yeah, so you got to achieve both depth
So
control
I
and
usually
hex control, hex orientation control.
make additional support of surgical template. I usually leave this fix a driver in the first drilling hole. 반대쪽 3.5.
So what he's doing is a little tip, little trick. Okay.
And then the left lateral inside, I play 3.5 by 11.5.
I'll explain to you soon. So what he's doing is he's leaving that first premolar fixture driver in there to give it additional stability. So he's leaving the driver in when he's placing this implant. That's pretty good trick. I'm definitely going to try that next time. But you need to have a multiple driver in order to do this, right? Yeah. So he's putting an extender on, and he's got the wrench on it. These wrenches are one of the older ones. It doesn't have the teardroppers. So you're just basically relying on your feel.
Stability is good.
Yeah. So he's happy with the stability.
This is a fixed driver for 3.5 diameter annual implant.
So first he's going to try to get the depth control by seeing the line right here, matching that line to the top. Okay.
This is ideal hex positioning.
All this added work in the name of immediate loading, right?
K9 4.0에 10.5.
So he got that part. Okay.
4.0 by 11.5.
4.0 by 11.5. Of course, everybody knows the famous X-bead coating, the blue coating of these Megagen implants. So now he's going to use the first the ratchet driver, fixture driver, and he's going to try to sink that in. Yeah.
왼쪽으로요.
Sometimes these guides and the driver fit is so tight, it's hard to remove them after you put the implant in. So when that happens, what you need to do is remove the guide and the fixture driver all together, and then separate them outside the mouth. Hello, Young-ho. Hi, Aaron. Okay. Where are you guys from? Write down the city and the local time there. I'm curious to know.
Control and hex positioning should be done for immediate loading with prefabricated provisional restoration and abutment. 사전에 보철물을 이용해서 이미디어트 로딩을 하기 위해서는 임플란트가 굉장히 정확도가 높게 들어가줘야 되기 때문에
So what he's saying is that, you know, getting the depth position is very, very important. And if you're going to put the prefabricated hex-oriented temporary, then hex position, getting it right is, you know, immensely important as well.
여기를 원래는 10을 계획을 했는데 11.5로 바꾸겠습니다.
Okay.
Because in central inside area, I could not feel any resistance during drilling, so the bone quality might be very poor.
So he's concerned that the 1-1 he didn't get good torque, a good resistance during the drilling. So he's going to go hopefully deeper, and instead of a 10mm length, he's going to try to do 11.5. So he placed 4. He's got good stability on the rest of the 3 except the tooth number 1-1, which is American number is 8. Okay.
To feel the bone quality, I will reduce the
Oh, you're from Burnaby. You're my neighbor. Hey, Jackie, how you doing? Jackie, you're from BC as well. Okay. Aaron is from Arizona. 215. All right. Thanks for joining.
3.3 diameter drill.
3.3.
3.5 diameter implant, but I increased the drilling depth.
Sometimes like a 3.3 I find is too wide to place the anyone 3.5 when the bone is very, very soft. That means you got to rely on 2.8. So, you know, sometimes the drill is too narrow, sometimes drill is too wide. So hopefully, you're crossing your fingers, right, to get the stability, but sometimes you don't get it. But the good thing is he's got the other three. So in the worst of the scenario, right? Worst of the scenario, he doesn't load the 1-1. Just put a healing abutment instead. Okay. Okay, yeah. Is he gonna get? So he put the extra long implant, extra long osteotomy, hoping to get the stability that he desires. He's hoping for that. Is he gonna get it? Okay. Washington State. That's my time zone, Kevin, right? Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think we share the same time zone.
Two implants were placed with guide system, and then
Hey Andrew, how you doing?
I fix the driver.
Andrew, you're in the same time zone as I am, right? It's about 2 p.m. No, 1 p.m. What time is it right now?
몇 분 남았어요?
Yeah, 1:16 right now, right?
This is the final placement of 4 implant.
So he got 4 in.
Before managing the gap, I will connect abutment and provisional restoration.
So before he does the GBR of the jump gap, okay, bone grafting of the jump gap, he's going to put a abutment and the restoration. Interesting. Did you guys see that? I'm just going to pause there for a moment. Those abutments and the bridge is not connected. It's not connected. It's not a one body. So I think what he's going to do, they're right now loose right now. He's going to guide those in to the implant that he's placed. Okay, he's going to guide those into the implant that is placed, and then he's going to lock up the abutment, and then remove it, and then he's going to try to ensure that they're seated properly, and then he's going to do a buccal jump gap grafting, and then he's going to cement the temporary prosthesis here. So those prefabricated abutments might be a final zirconia abutments actually. That's so hard to do. That's so hard to do. Okay, so because he's having a hard time fiddling with all 3 of them, so he's just going to do one at a time. So
now I'm connecting prefabricated zirconia abutment.
oh, zirconia abutment. There you go. He said it. Zirconia abutment. Okay. Finland, Andreas. Finland. I've been to Finland. That's where I bought my very first CBCT machine, Planmeca, for $300,000 17 years ago. 16 years ago? 17 years ago. All right. Okay. Welcome to Vancouver time zone.
And then one more in central incisor.
So he's going to try to fit the central incisor. So I guess he did get the torque, right? He had a bit of struggle at the beginning, but he did get it.
숙여주시겠어요? 네.
So it's a zirconia abutment.
Because three implant was placed with same as my planning, I could connect this prefabricated abutment and provisional restoration
Huh.
easily. 보세요.
So he's tightening those. So when he engaged those individually, he tightened those loosely, right? Just get them into position. And then once he got the draw, now he seated the temporary prosthesis onto it. Make sure they're all passively seated, and then he tightened the abutment afterwards. I think that's what he did. So I guess these zirconia abutments are staying in there as a final abutment. I'm a little curious. I mean, in theory, that will give the best soft tissue response, wouldn't it, right? Okay, because zirconia, everybody knows that zirconia, smooth zirconia, undersurface, and the soft tissue, they will actually cause a biological binding, right? It's been explained by Dr. Thomas Linkovicius. That's why he's such an avid user of the Thai base and the zirconia. You know, I have my preference, but that is the idea, that is the theory behind it. So
lateral inside area, I will do socket preservation.
Okay, so that's where the lateral incisor was, on the 1-2 area. He's going to do socket preservation, and he's going to try to do what we call buccal jump gap grafting, but also known as a dual zone grafting, is where you overfill, right, the graft to, you know, kind of give the proper buccal profile of the soft tissue, kind of pushes the soft tissue buccally so that when it heals up, it looks more plump than it actually is.
I usually place graft material to the top of soft tissue to maintain the cervical soft tissue contour.
Yeah,
This
so
is a dual zone grafting concept.
yeah, dual zone grafting. That's what he's saying. Does the dual zone work all the time? Does that maintain the volume all the time? Is it so predictable that you don't need to do a socket shield or connective tissue grafting? No, it's not be all end all. I mean, it's helpful, but there are times that sometimes it doesn't work. After like 2-3 years, it's not there. Okay, you get a collapse. Only way to ensure preventing the buccal plate from collapsing is a socket shield. Okay, in my opinion. But it is a easy grafting procedure to do at the time of extraction and implant placement and temporization. So we do it. And in my hand, what I do to make it even easier is a sticky bone protocol, and it allows me to not waste bone so much, because when you're using particular graft like this here, that, you know, it's tricky, right? It's tricky. You know, he's doing a great job, but for average surgeons, it's a lot of manipulation that we have to do. So sticky bone, it you save more bone, save time, and you know, I find it much easier. He's keep on asking, you know, are you in pain? Are you in pain? Because he was complaining that this exact area that he had to give extra freezing, right? So, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a live surgery under the spotlight or 2,000 people watching. Treatment is a treatment. You always have to put patient's comfort as a priority. And what I do when I do a live surgery with Dr. Bernardjian on the stage every year, we bring the patient in like half an hour before the surgery, and we freeze the heck out of them, right? Because we want to make sure that they're comfortable.
The canine implant was placed in the completely healed side, so no need to manage the gap.
Yeah, so canine area was a completely healed side, so there is no buccal jump gap. But the lateral area where he took the tooth out, he's doing a socket grafting. So he's actually using quite a bit of a graft material, isn't it? Right? Because he wants to pack quite a bit.
소켓 프리저베이션 할 때도 마찬가지로 가능한 연조직의 탑까지 그래프트 머티리얼을 올려줍니다. 그러고 나서 판틱 베이스로 눌러줘서 이쪽을 몰딩을 해주는 게 아무래도 이쪽 소켓 프리저베이션 사이트에 소프트 티슈에
So his philosophy, now everybody has a different philosophy when it comes to socket preservation and things like that, and jump gap management. His philosophy is to overfill and support the tissue. Even on a socket area, he'll overfill and he will close the lid top part with the pontic design, which is going to be ovate pontic, I'm assuming, and letting the body heal by secondary intention in those pontic base there. Okay. So if you're wondering why is he filling so much with graft material, spending so much time, that's his reason behind it. Okay. Hey Marcus, where are you from, my friend? What's your local time there? If you can shout out your city and the local time there, that'd be great. It's always good to see somebody else's presentation, the way somebody else does it. It may be different than what I do, but I always learn something. Not necessarily that I'll be changing my surgical technique, but understanding their reason behind what they do. Okay, that aspect of the knowledge I can incorporate to my existing style of surgery as well, right? Hey, Pawn. Lathrop, California, 126. You're similar to my time zone. The instrument that he's using, I believe he's using either that is a Boozer periosseous elevator instrument, which is all-purpose type of elevator, or it could be a George. I call it a George P24G, the proper name. P24G is one of my favorite instruments. It's the instrument that I use the most during any of my surgery, followed by number 9 for the bigger flap management, and also Lucas Curettes. Hi, Sarosh. So he's going to suture the papilla area first. Okay. The principle of suturing aesthetic zone is simple. You do the suturing where it needs the soft tissue aesthetic the most, which is papilla. Papilla is by far the most important aesthetic area when we're doing smile design. So he wants to get that papilla closure out of the way. And then he's doing this papilla. So it doesn't matter what type of suture you use. What you do want to use is a monofilament suture that does not trap plaque, right? So this is a monofilament suture, probably like Athlon, a nylon type of a suture. You can use the PTFE suture, okay, but you want to use a small needle and small suture size. Typically 5/0. 5/0 is a good suture size, or 6/0.
크로스 매트리스 수처로 소켓 프리저베이션 사이트에 그래프트 머티리얼 유출을 막아주겠습니다.
He's going to try to do a cross mattress to cover over it.
To prevent graft material displacement from the socket preservation side.
So he's got the first loop in. Now he's going to do a second loop. Yeah, so it's just a double loop, double loop. Most of these mattress and horizontal, vertical, and all that, they're a variation of double loops. The big advantage of double loop sutures are that it allows surgeons to be creative in their vectors of their suturing. You know, you can cover more distances and also vary the direction. And also it reduces the tension overall. Yeah, now he's going to try the bridge one more time. Hey, Jared. Hi, Dave. How you guys doing? Where city you're from, and what's your local time there? Okay. I appreciate if you shout out your city and your local time, so that I can use it as a part of my analytics. Hey, Virguti, my friend, my buddy, how you doing? Sarosh, with Indianapolis. What time is it there, Sarosh? It's pretty good, right?
Let's take OPG first.
Yeah. He's gonna have to cement that in, right? Okay. Let me pause there. Okay, so what has he done so far? Okay, see, whenever we are watching these live surgeries, and when a surgeon does the commentating, it's hard because you're doing surgery and commentating at the same time. It's so hard to do, right? And there's a light there and everything, you know, with the it's not your normal environment. So some of the things gets not addressed in details, and that's what I'm going to do right here. That's my job, right? So he did his guided surgery, right? That part I think you guys all follow pretty well. Okay, what tooth number 11 was a little soft. Initially it was planned for 10, but he had to change at the end, a little go deeper, right? Because deeper we go, closer to the nose, the density, your Hounsfield value that you'll know the CT scan increases. Okay, there's two ways to achieve primary stability predictably in the maxillary anterior, right? It is what? Go longer, close to the floor of the nose, so that you reach a more denser bone and stay palatal. So when you stay palatally, the bone density is higher. Okay, yeah, so that's an advantage to that. So that's what he had to do, go deeper to get stability on the 1-1. And then he had this temporary apparatus, which is quite sophisticated in my opinion. It is a prefabricated zirconia abutment for these sites, 1-3, 1-1, and 2-2. Okay, I don't think there was the abutment for the 1-4, but we'll check on the x-ray. Okay, and he had to orient that properly, and then he seated those, okay, one by one, and did the final torquing when he felt that it was passive enough, right? Final torquing, okay, yeah. And I'm gonna try to reconnect, guys. Hopefully I can reconnect. Okay, let me just give me a few minutes. Yeah, I think it's my end. My live it disconnected. Okay, hopefully I can get back. Okay, am I back in, you guys? Am I back in? Hopefully. All right. Okay. So if you guys can hear me again, let me know. Please shout out so that I'm not just talking to myself. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to continue on. So he did that. So the reason sometimes we have to plan it with a buckle like that, there's just not enough bone in the palatal area. Okay. So and how do you get around that? Okay. In these cases, if you're making a screw retained prosthetic, you can use an angle screwdriver to correct it. That's what I do. Okay. In his case, it'll be cemented final restoration because a zirconia abutment that he placed today at this time is going to be his final abutment. And basically, for the final prosthetics, then he's just going to have to take an impression with a cord packing, take the impression, and make it cementable, which is just fine. Okay. All right, awesome, guys. My apologies. That's the thing about live Wi-Fi. Sometimes it goes. I do have a business version of a Wi-Fi and all that, but sometimes they do drop. Okay, so that's that. Let's go into the Q&A. Do you guys have any Q&A? in a couple minutes, I think Dr. Yong-Jin Kim is going to do the Q&A, which has already started. But if you guys have any Q&A, let me know. Okay. All right. Let me just go here.
볼륨 메인테넌스 is a
Oh, I went a little too far.
질문이 들어온 게 몇 개가 있는데 좀 보겠습니다.
Few questions
러시아에서 질문인 것 같은데.
from Russia.
Which bone does doctor use? 이렇게 물어보셨는데.
What bone grafting
I
material do you
used
use?
Genogenic bone, ovine-based genogenic bone graft material, because in anterior side,
He used a xenograft.
volume maintenance is a main issue after implant placement. So when managing the gap after immediate implant placement in the anterior area, my first choice always is genogenic bone.
Okay, so when it comes to bone graft choices, every clinician have their own preference, right? Like I have my own preference, and every doctor has a different preference. Like Dr. Albert Louis in my faculty has a different preferences too. They all work. The question is what your intention of using it, and his reasoning is he used a xenograft. It's because in his case, the primary function of the bone for this particular patient was not really gaining bone volume around the implant, right? Is to maintain the space for the soft tissue profiling. And that means he chose a bone graft material that's going to be the slowest in resorption. It may not turn into really good quality bone, fast enough, but it will maintain the volume the longest. And that's his primary purpose for it. And xenograft, it takes a long time to resorb. That's why he used the xenograft.
Because the genogenic bone is made of bovine bone or pig bone, porcine bones. So the main characteristic of xenogenic bone is non-resorbable.
Yeah, xenograft meaning that xenograft is like a cow bone or pig bone. In this case, I think he used a cow bone, and he considers that non-resorbable, all right, because it takes so long to resorb, right? There's a kid. Is there somebody behind?
다른 거는 없는 것 같고 호주에서도 많이 들어와 주시고.
There she is. She's crawling underneath it.
스타일의 드릴을 발치 후 즉시 식립할 때 쓰는 게 좋지 않냐라고 질문을 하셨는데요. 맞는 말씀입니다. 린데만 드릴의 스타일이 있으면 좋겠지만 가이드 수술을 할 때는 가이드 홀이 이 린데만 드릴은 측벽에 절삭날이 있기 때문에 혹시 모르는 드릴링 동안 가이드 홀을 이 린데만 드릴의 측벽 절삭날이 깎을 수가 있기 때문에 그로 인한 감염이 생길 수가 있습니다.
Okay, so very good question too. A doctor, surgeon from Australia logged in and asked the question, why don't implant company, or in this particular case, Megagen R2 system, don't have a Lindemann drill as a part of their guide, right? Meaning, why don't you make the guide drill with the Lindemann? So for those of you who are not familiar with what Lindemann drill is a very aggressive side cutting drill, right? Okay, and a lot of people who are doing freehand surgery uses that Lindemann drill as your final drill before you put the implant in when you're doing freehand. Why? So that you can drill the palatal, palatal area, so that it prevents from the implant tipping buccally, implant drifting, right? Because in theory, osteotomy site is going to be narrower than the implant in order to achieve primary stability in the soft bone, right? So what he's saying is that the reason, is a good idea, but a lot of companies don't use Lindemann drill as a part of a guided surgical kit is because Lindemann drill, especially when your guide is sleeveless, is just a plastic, it's just a guided material. Lindemann can actually cut the plastic off, and that gets incorporated into the osteotomy site, and that can cause an implant failure. So he thinks that that's the reason why a lot of companies don't make it.
그래서 이렇게 발치와의 측벽에, 즉 팔라탈이나 링골 쪽에 드릴의 컨택이 먼저 일어날 것 같은 경우에 드릴이 밀리게 되죠. 이런 것들을 방지하기 위해서 주로 가장 짧은 드릴부터 조금씩 써가면서
So in order to overcome that aspect of it, Dr. Kim is also saying is that in order to prevent from implant tipping buccally, he highly recommends to use a crown down technique. Use a shorter one and the initial drill. That's why the R2 guide has a a short initial drill and the second drill, which is flares out the coronal 1/3 of it. Okay, so that will significantly lower the tilting of the buckle. So another thing that I do is I remove the guide and then I use a profile drill, which is diamond in the socket shield kit with the Megagen. I use that to lick the pallet. I call it technical term, lick the pallet. I do that and then put the guide back in and then put the implant so that it stays exactly true to the path of the drill.
그러고 나서 다음 단계 Y 단측경으로 넘어가게 되면
So he's getting technical here. Some of the doctors who are asking these questions are, high-level surgeons and asking specific questions, right?
기대어서 플래닝을 하게 되면 드릴을 하면서 드릴의 측벽이 팔라타이나 링거 쪽에 닿게 되면 100% 밀립니다. 첫 번째 컨택은 드릴의 에이펙스와 팔라타이나 링거 넓이 일어날 수 있도록 플래닝을 할 때 좀 그런 것들을 고려를 하시는 게 좋을 것 같습니다. 파노라마가 나와서 CT는 시간 관계상 다음번에 기회가 되면
So
업로드하는 걸로
they don't have a
하고요.
CT, but they do have a panoramic X-ray.
왜 4번 부위에 힐링도 연결하고 커버도 연결 안 했냐고 물어보실 건데요. 왜냐면 힐링을 연결해 놓고 나면은 템퍼러리 브릿지가 체결이 안 될 수도 있어서요. 일단은 먼저 템퍼러리 브릿지 체결되는 거 확인을 하고 나중에 커버를 넣든 힐링 어바트먼트를 체결하든 그렇게 할 계획입니다. 그래서 파노라마 상에서는 14번 부위에는 아무것도 연결을 안 했습니다. 네, 한번 수술 후 파노라마가 나와서 한번 보실까요?
Okay. All right. So
파노라마만 가지고 수술이 잘 됐네 안 됐네를 판단하기는 좀 어렵겠죠.
okay. So if you look at the panoramic X-ray, he's explained another detail. Some of the surgeon said, why didn't you put even a cover screw or healing abutment on the tooth number 1/4, which is premolar area? Okay. Because prefabricated bridge had a cantilever pontic on the 1/4. So what he was saying is that due to the time constraint, if he were to put a healing abutment on top, which is a typical healing abutment by definition, it needs to protrude out at least about 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter above the tissue, right? And when he looked at the temporary prosthesis, he knew that he has to trim that away. Okay, he had to trim that away in order to make it fit. And what he decided to do that is, let's take an X-ray and make sure that everything is seated properly. Everything's seated properly. And if it's seated properly, then he knows that the pontic and everything is in the right position. Then he can have a patient come back in 5 minutes or 10 minutes time, remove that, the temporary bridge, right? Okay, before he cements it, he'll put the healing abutment of the choice, and then he will fit check the base of the pontic number 1/4 and basically use a slow speed handpiece to cut that away and then make it seat passively, right? Before he cements it in the mouth. Okay, that's what he was explaining.
우리가 이 가이드 수술을 통해서는 미리 만들어 놓은 사전 브릿지, 원피스 타입의 브릿지가 한 번에 쫙 맞아 들어간다면 우리가 임플란트가 사전에 플래닝한 대로 잘 들어간다고 볼 수 있을 것 같고요. 아까 보시는 것처럼, 아까 수술 동안 보셨던 것처럼 이 가이드를 앵커나 이런 걸로 고정을 하지는 않았습니다. 왜냐하면 메지알 사이드와 디스탈 사이드 양쪽에 다 치아가 있었기 때문에 그렇죠. 그래서 그런 경우 치아 지지형 같은 경우에는 굳이 앵커핀 같은 걸로 고정할 필요가
Oh yeah, so he's also explaining why some surgeons were asking the same thing that I covered earlier. Why didn't you use an anchor pin, meaning anchor abutment? Yeah, that goes on the top of it, anchor abutment. He says that because the teeth support was so good, and the verification window verified that it was sitting so nicely, he felt that it was not necessary.
이렇게 스팬이 좀 긴 경우에는 드릴링하거나 그럴 때 가이드가 틸팅될 수 있습니다. 그래서 손으로 항상 꽉 누르면서 해주시고요. 아까 제가 썼던 것처럼 픽스처 드라이버를 가장 첫 번째 썼던 곳에
So instead of using an anchor abutment, right, he's using a fixture driver to compensate for any possible minute movement. Yeah, which is very smart. I learned something today.
다음번에 기회가
Yeah.
되면 CT는
I just have to order more multiple implant fixture a driver.
또 다른 질문 있으신가요? ISQ 측정값이 없냐고 그랬는데 아까 ISQ는 시간 관계상 좀 생략을 했습니다.
Yeah, some people are asking, the ISQ. Well, how about the ISQ value?
아까 토크를 재면서
Yeah.
물론 토크 렌즈를 쓰지 않고 서지컬 라쳇을 사용했는데 손의 감각으로 봤었을 때
So
훨씬 더 40m 이상은 나왔던 걸로 텍타일 센서로
his answer was, apologize for not doing the ISQ reading. He just ran out of time. There was a time limiting, but he felt that initial torque from his feel of the hand, he's got definitely over 45 to 50.
어느 어느 정도의 이니셜 스테빌리티가 이미디어트 로딩에 적절한가에 대한 컨센서스는 아직까지는 없는 걸로 알고 있습니다.
Yeah.
그래서 저 정도의 이니셜 스테빌리티를
There's
보이고
still
세계
what he's
인플란트
saying.
소를
There's still a
연결할 수 있다고
controversy
한다면
about what
물론
torque and what
그건 좀
initial
연구해야
ISQ
되겠지만
value
기본적으로
warrants you to
포함되어
the
있다고
immediate
생각하고요.
loading.
ISQ 값을 희한하게
You
측정을
know, he
못했습니다.
says that
준비는 해놨는데
initial.
발표해서 너무 시간이
Yeah,
길어져서요.
yeah. So he just said he would have liked to do an ISQ reading, which is his normal protocol, but because he spent so much time doing extraction with the lateral incisor, he had to make up time, and he got good initial torque. So he's apologetic, but to be honest with you, okay, in his defense, Dr. Yong-Jin Kim, I don't do ISQ reading for every immediate loading at a surgery time. I do ISQ reading at the final, before I do the final impression and everything for that. But I have not been doing ISQ measurement at the time of the surgery. Again, it's controversial. I'm not saying that I'm wrong or I'm right, but I don't do it. I never felt the need to. But there are some documentation by Megagen group with an ISQ, and its relation to how you use the ISQ value and the initial torque value to determine the predictability of the immediate loading. So you can check that out as well.
또 다른 질문 없는 것 같아서요. 여기서 마치도록 하겠습니다. 많이 부족한 수술이었고 어떻게 보면 아직 제가 R2 게이트에 익숙하지 않은 상태에서 하는 거여서 많이 떨려고 그랬었는데.
Yeah, he's saying that I apologize for not a very smooth clean surgery. I think he did a fantastic job. Okay, R2 gate is something new to him, right? He says he's still a very learning process. He's a very humble surgeon, but I think he did fantastic.
For immediate loading. Yeah. Because of the difference between buccolingual angulation of implant, so the 1-4 implant, post premolar implant was excluded for immediate loading. I think the 3 implant is enough. And then after 2 or 3 months, I will take a final impression for final.
So somebody in Australia asked him, how come he didn't do an immediate loading of the 1-4 implant? So his answer was, when they were planning, the angular deviation was a little bit too different than the other ones, and that's number one reason. And because when you do temporary, you gotta wrap it around, right, for stability. You don't do individual, right? And joining the canine and the premolar, because the angular difference is quite a bit. It's hard to join them together, right? Yeah. So what he says, if 3 is enough, the cantilevers will be out of occlusion, and he'll be doing when you do final impression, he'll do the impression of the 1-4 as well. Yeah. Okay, and he's also okay. Thank you, Dr. Yong-Jin Kim. We thoroughly enjoyed and learned a lot. Okay. So another thing that he also made a comment that I 100% agree is that never ever he will go into the final prosthetics without some sort of a temporary prosthetic, because temporary prosthetic is more than just giving patients smile right away. It helps the tissue to heal, tissue to mold around it, and to really get the sense of what the final prosthetic should look like. So if the temporary is not good, then he may even go and do a secondary temporary to get all that minute detail out of the way. Embrasure space, the speech, the symmetry, the proportion and all that. Okay, so it's way more than just giving patient happy patient with immediate teeth. So I think that was great. Hope you guys had a good time. My apologies for little boo boo. Okay, my daughter is knocking my door, so I gotta go. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a comments and invite your friends to begin our Facebook group. Really appreciate it. For those of you around the world joining today on your Happy New Year, I wish everybody Happy New Year and wish you the best and stay connected. Take care. All right, I am out.